Pure Spaceship Music Collective. This is Six Set Bro, a misguided adventure through the social fringe of the music industry. I'm your host, Dom Maple. Welcome everybody to Six Set Bro Live. It's Wednesday night, it's humping night. You know what it is, it's a music and entertainment podcast. And I'm your host, indie musician Dom Maple. It's Christmas. It's 1st of December, yo. And we're doing a podcast that is not Christmas themed in the slightest. Too early. Yeah, no, I'm not here by myself. I'm joined by my buddies. My big brother. Big as in old, big not as in big size, big not as in big giant man. It's the one and only, the prestigious Mike Ledgerwood, aka Money Mike, aka Hungry Ghost, but mostly aka Money Mike. Hit him with the cash register. And you know he's always here. He's always hanging out. He just got a new light for the video podcast, so you can see his beautiful face. He's glowing. His skin is glowing. And he's covering it up. It's Nandez. Fresh and now in spearmint flavor. It's Six Set Bro. You're joined by Nandez, Don Maple, and Hungry Ghost.
What's happening?
What's happening, everybody? It's all
How's
good.
your week? How's your month? How's your years?
How's your life?
It's all good.
I'm gonna assume that you guys survived the storm, okay? Storm, somebody's name. Forget what it was called. Storm, I don't know. It's always some dumb storm.
I feel like it was at A this time. I can't remember.
Arlene.
Storm.
Yeah, it's always some
Good.
nuts
Hey,
name.
Google, what was that last storm called?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Google, tell us. Yeah,
Oh,
maybe
I
you get.
accidentally activated my phone.
Here's a result from search.
Hey,
There you go.
tell
They're
us.
listening.
They're always listening.
Do you reckon somebody that just named the storm?
No, it's just giving me
Somebody-
like Google search results on how people name storms. That wasn't very
Somebody
good.
had annoyed them that day, and it's like, we're gonna name them this storm,
Yeah, name it
Annabelle.
after somebody.
and we're gonna go with that.
Money Michael. What? How do people name storms? I'm kind of interested. Now that you've said there's a
Do you
way
want to
that
click
people.
into the article and just
I really,
read it aloud
I really
for
do
you?
right now. Yeah. Because
I
I
thought they just go down the alphabet.
I know,
I
but
do.
somebody's got to decide a name. I mean, what? Like, can they use
Oh
the
yeah,
same
like
name?
who debates them? Yeah.
Yeah. Like, can they use the same name like multiple times, or else at this point are the names becoming so bizarre because we're running out of them because we just keep cycling through names? Like, can
I'm
there
just
be?
trying to scan through this really quickly, but this particular article off the Guardian, this was something I didn't know. Bad luck if your name begins with Q, U, X, Y, or Z, though, because you will never get a storm named after you.
Oh.
This is because names beginning with those letters are never used, either in Europe or by the U.S. National Hurricane Center.
But why? I feel this article is good at telling you information, but not actually saying why. I hate that. What a clickbait. It's like,
Trying to
oh, let
scan-
me
it's-
explain
it's
to
a-
you why
it's quite
this
a
happens.
wordy article.
Damn
I'm trying
it.
to scan to see if there's.
I'm just wondering if we're gonna be living in a world where, like, you know, like, can a storm be
okay.
storm? Can a storm be Storm Phillip and then also be Storm Phillip 50 years later, or will it have to be Storm
Phillip
Phillip
the
the second? Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
or Phil Jr.
Okay, this
Like, I
still
don't know.
this still doesn't answer that for you, but it does give you like who's behind it all. The process is now overseen by an international committee of the World Meteorological Organization. So it's like some sort of group of meteorologists.
Yeah,
weathermen.
the WMO. I know it well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so that didn't really tell us anything. I'm just curious, can you use the same name twice? But
There are 6
knows?
lists of names for each region where storms develop, and they rotate in use through the years. So the names used for hurricanes in 2020 will be used again in 2026.
Ah,
That's the
so
US.
so they do use them multiple times.
Yeah, they do use them again. I suppose
Well-
what does that say? Yeah, so ones that are used in 2020 will be used again in 2026. So whenever 2026 comes around, everybody's going to forget about Philip the First. So you probably won't have to actually specify Philip the Second. Philip the First is long lost in people's memories by that stage, I guess.
There's been too many Phillips. Rock you like a hurricane, bringing it back to music, everyone. Bringing it back. No, you know why I asked the question is I probably was on the most dangerous drive of my life during that. I had to drive like down the peninsula, and 3 trees fell while I was driving. Like I got to a certain point on the road, and this guy is like driving towards me, and he's like flashing his lights at me like crazy, and I'm like, what the hell? I thought there has to be an accident, and then I just get there, and I'm like, yeah, tree in the road. But I'm not. I feel like whenever I tell this, everyone's gonna think like, yeah, tree in the road will block the road. I mean, like fucking, I don't know what it was. We don't have redwoods here, but that's what it felt like. It was a ginormous tree. It was right by Mount Stewart, the National Trust site. So it was like a tree of that stature because it fell like almost into the grounds. It basically
Hop
was
the fence out onto the road.
Well, it's like the wall for Mount Stewart was on my right side, and this tree was in like near somebody's house. But it was like so tall that it had fallen, covered the road, and was like the height of my car. And I was like, whoa, okay. So I turn around and go back, and then I went a different route home and came across a tree that had almost fallen. It was like at an acute angle. Is that what you call it? It's been a while since I've been in school. An acute angle, one of these. And my car could just about fit under it. So, this daredevil that I am, I was like, I'm going to just go this way. So I
I'm
drove
not turning
under it.
back again. I'm just going to take my life in my hands.
Well, yeah, at a certain point, I'm going to run out of routes of how to get home. So I was like, I got to go this way. And then the last one that I seen was like the top of a tree that must have blown off and then got caught in the branches. So I don't even know how to explain this. It's basically a tree that had vertically fallen but got stuck. So it was just like the trunk of the tree was vertically down in the middle of the road. And it had stuck in the trees above, so you had to go left or right around it. But like the whole middle of the tree was just hanging. I was like, yeah, that was cool. That with all the garbage and COVID masks flying in my windshield. It was a bit of a dangerous drive, is all I'm saying. But
all that you needed would be a T-Rex running after you. You'd be in Jurassic Park.
Man, that's what it felt like. No joke. Definitely felt like that. I suppose we'll kick things off with a little quickfire news. You know how we do. It's quickfire. Last week it took 40 minutes, so I'm really gonna try and get this down a little bit better.
It's the bulk of the show now. Thank God you prepped, because
the show
otherwise
really,
we wouldn't have very much.
Originally, we were like,
news.
our shows are becoming too long. We got to come up with some sort of like gimmick that makes things run a little faster here. And quickfire news, it started off well, and at this point, it is the majority of the show because we talk after every quick fire, so it's not really a quick. It's kind of like a slow.
Quick fires now.
It's a
Everything's
slow fire.
a quick fire now. You can't have quick fires.
No, it's more like slow fire news. So here we go. Welcome to Six Set Bros Quick Fire News. I'm your lead anchor, Donald Maple, and I am joined by my co-anchor, Buddy Michael, and of course, who can forget Andrew Pedro de Jesus Fernandez with entertainment this week, because there are no sports to cover. Let's get into it, baby. So, first story. Ryan Reynolds. We all know Ryan Reynolds. He's a handsome Canadian actor, entrepreneur. He's from Vancouver. So he received an award, a prestigious Canadian award called the Governor General's Performing Arts Award. And The reason that I bring this up, because it doesn't seem music related, is that he got the award. There's a lot of people speaking, saying how great Ryan Reynolds is. But there was a musical performance by Stephen Page from the Bare Naked Ladies, and he wrote a song for Ryan Reynolds. It's called "Canada Loves You Back."
It's so random that, like, because we haven't even talked about it, but, like, I was scrolling through my Instagram and I just seen the guy from Bare Naked Ladies on Ryan Reynolds' Instagram, and that got me right away as well. I clicked in and watched the whole song.
Oh, you watched it, man?
Yeah.
If you want something heartwarming, I mean, it was so nice. I mean, Ryan Reynolds isn't, like, he's, like, crying at the end of it, because it's just funny as well. Stephen Page is such an icon in Canada, from one of the Bare Naked Ladies for years, and he wrote this song that's just, like, it's just a comedy song, but it's also like it's a damn anthem, is what it is. It's really good.
He
and
didn't
it's
half-ass it, like.
Yeah, it's just him walking around like northern parts of Canada with like an axe and stuff, like being overly Canadian. But yeah, it's pretty funny. Like there's too many jokes you can have about how Ryan Reynolds is kind of like in the top 3 Ryans of Canada, because there's so many people called Ryan who are successful. Oh.
Here, already off on tangents on quickfire news, but just speaking of Ryan Reynolds as well, actually, wouldn't have thought in a million years that it would have been a movie that I would have enjoyed, but I was stuck for something to watch last week.
Red Notice?
No.
No?
I haven't watched it. But me and Jade sat down and watched Free Guy.
Oh yeah, Free Guy's not bad. I watched it.
I actually enjoyed it.
It was okay. Yeah.
I don't know if it was just the amount of drinks that I had as well, but I feel like it got very like existential, like towards the end.
It
it's
does.
Like, There's this whole like monologue about does anything mean anything, because he's like an NPC and like a game character. I'm like, man, this is getting deep for a comedy movie.
Yeah. It's basically what's the point of life if everything means nothing, or if there's no consequence for what you do.
Yeah.
There's a lot of shows do that. The Good Place did that pretty well.
Yeah.
Don't want to make any spoilers, but there's just like basically a part about heaven in it where it's kind of like, whenever you're in heaven and it's the complete utopia, it's like you live there for like hundreds and thousands of years, and at a certain point people become unhappy because they're like, when does it end? And what, like, every day is great, but it's like, there is nothing else. And it's just like, if you offered people in heaven basically another door into another unknown of just like, well, we don't really know what happens after this, because you basically like become one with the universe again, and it's like, what does that mean? We don't know what it means. So then it creates mystery, so gives you the option to go and do that if you want to do that. That was like, I felt similar existential vibes of just like, what's the point?
Why are these comedy shows getting so friggin' deep?
Quickfire. Yeah, you don't get that in the regular news. You don't get that on BBC. What? I don't even watch the news anymore. Jonathan Snow, is that a man? Is that a guy?
Yes.
It's just Jon Snow, isn't it? I've named him Jonathan Snow.
I couldn't tell you.
It's also the guy from Game of Thrones. That's I think that's the connection I'm getting. Imagine if they always called him Jonathan Snow in Game of Thrones. I feel like it would have brought his cool vibe down quite a lot.
Did he have a cool vibe in Game of Thrones?
No. Next up, Bloc Party return. Bloc Party return with the first single in quite some time. And it kind of feels like we're getting some return to form here. New single, it's called Traps. And it's filled with these, it's like indie riffs. They're kind of like heavier indie riffs, but they remind me of like that first Bloc Party record. Kind of like Helicopter, those sort of guitar riffs he got. It transports you back to the early 2000s easily. And, of course, my main man, Kelly, he returns with some bizarre lyrics. Bizarre lyrics that make you feel confused and slightly uncomfortable. Trying to think of some. I know he definitely, in the chorus, he says that, she's cute like Bambi. Thought that was weird. But probably the most notable one is that the second verse starts with him going, lick, 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 lickety split. And I'm like, oh, he actually made the lick noise as well. It wasn't just that he said the word lick, but he goes, I'm like, never heard that in a song before. So he's breaking some boundaries, is what I would say. But their next album, Alpha Games, is coming out 29th of April, 2022. So I'm kind of looking forward to it. I didn't really like the last Bloc Party record. I don't know. They got rid of 2 members and things kind of took a nosedive for me.
They were one of my favorite bands for years, and I have tried to listen to like everything in more recent times and tried my best to like it, but it just
wasn't the same.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. And they were 2 great musicians. I always forget their names. I think the drummer back in the day was called Matt Tong, and he was unreal. And the bassist, I forget what the bassist name is. I always want to say Russell, but I think he's the guitar player that actually stayed.
I was thinking that as well.
But yeah, the bassist, he joined that other band, I think. I don't know. His band,
Young Legionnaire?
Yeah. I knew you would know the name. Yeah. But yeah, they're awesome musicians. It's unfortunate that they're not there anymore, but I feel like you can just sort
Listen
of
to
feel
Young
that,
Legionnaire.
Yeah, I just feel like there's an
That's
element of
what's
Bloc
titled
Party that
over.
went missing whenever they left. It's like, although you still have that unique vocal and everything, it's just not quite. There's something off about the whole thing. I don't really know what it is,
But maybe
probably
I
that.
think I was reading part of the whenever they released that single and stuff. This is the first time that they've actually all made music together, like in a room. So maybe that
these
was
new
kind of,
guys.
yeah. Maybe that's kind of what
okay.
was missing. I feel like it was kind of like maybe Kelly's songs, and then they done stuff at a distance, or maybe like met up, like 2 at a time or something like that. They weren't actually writing songs together, so that's not really gonna work in a band style atmosphere. I wouldn't think. So hopefully, maybe it will definitely sound a bit
Hoping for the best. Quick fire. Also, fun quick story is that I remember one time I went to see.
This is a quick story now. This isn't quick fire.
This quick. Do I need like the pressure of the background music? And I was like, okay, I was trying to remember the story. Right, one time I went to see Kasabian live, and they were being supported by Ash, which was really cool. And I remember whenever Ash were coming on stage, and whenever the whole stage was being set up and doing sound check, I seen a Bloc Party like rig coming out, and I was like, holy good lord, Bloc Party are here! Like, this is so cool. What turns out happening was like the guitarist for Ash couldn't be there. Don't think it's well or something happened, and Russell from Bloc Party ended up playing guitar for Ash at that show, which is really cool to me. Nailed it. That wasn't really a news story. That was just a story. That was a Dawn story.
That's a
Donald
template
story.
for how all quickfire news should go. You
I feel like
finish
it's a
just as
template for
as the
most
bed.
conversations should go. Is like you see if that music played under normal everyday conversations, things would just be so much more fluid, and we could just get on with our lives. So much more free time. Arctic Monkeys. They got a new album coming out. So like back in January, the manager of Arctic Monkeys, he revealed that the group have been working on new music, and I think they initially planned to record it in the summer. But the thing about the Arctic Monkeys is they don't really tell you anything, so it's all mysterious. If you're gonna hear from anyone, it's Matt Helders, and he spoke out a little bit about it. He says that the thing's basically done, and I think the only reason he talked about this is because a studio in Suffolk, I think it was, accidentally said that they were working there, so they kind of spoiled the whole thing. Anyway, Matt Helders was like, yeah, it's basically done. He thinks it'll be out next year, and they could tour it after that as well. And whenever people ask him about, like, what does it sound like or whatever, the quote is, we tend to always move it on a little bit. For us, because we're so involved in it, it always makes sense. They always kind of pick up where the other one left off in a way. It makes sense when you think about it in the context of the last record, but we always try to do something a bit different. It's kind of hard to describe. You can tell it's the same band. That doesn't really mean anything. People just want to know, is it just piano again, or are we doing something else? But I feel like they
can't
evolve.
see them doing it twice. Like
They won't do it twice. And they evolve with every single record. Like, people who want to believe that the Arctic Monkeys was one thing before the last polarizing album just clearly haven't been listening to them throughout their career, I don't think, because they were so different at the start as to what they were in 2016 with AM. But then that just became like the what do you call it, the magnum opus so far anyway, the greatest piece of work they've done, AM, globally recognized as their best work.
And then everybody just wanted them to recreate it.
Everyone thinks that that's what they sound like. I think
10
that's the problem
albums.
with them, is like, oh, Arctic Monkeys sound like AM, and it's like, not really. You know, they sounded like it for that one album, but they've sounded like a lot of things. Like record before, like on Humbug, they sound like Queens of the Stone Age. So, you know, they're all over the show, those guys. And last one. Just realized I didn't do this. Quick fire. I can't believe I forgot to do that. That could have been bad. Last news story isn't really... I mean, I don't really have much information about this. It's just the fact that it's worth noting we're a Northern Irish podcast. That's where we podcast out of, and COVID measures seem to be changing again here. I don't really know what that means for live music in the country anymore. It seems like now you're going to need not just a travel passport to go somewhere else, but you need a domestic passport to go into bars and clubs and all this sort of stuff. And I got mine. Didn't know you had to upload a picture to the last minute, and it's awful. I took a picture of myself at like midnight, and I was exhausted. Didn't know that was going to be involved in the process, and now if I show up to the door of a bar, they're going to have to see tired old Don Maple with looking a complete mess. His eyes are like pretty much closed, and you know, they'll know it's me. They'll know.
That's
it's
what
me
I was
anyways.
saying. As your night goes on, if you hop from bar to bar,
Yeah.
it will be accurate anyways.
is
They'll
me.
be like, oh yeah, that's.
It actually means I'll have to drink a lot before I show up.
Free drinks,
I think
yeah.
I drank that night that I did it, which I wouldn't recommend as well. Like drinking before setting up like a government document, like probably not a good look.
You prepared me, so mine was the exact opposite. Like I was like all set up like Andy, like had the ring light out and everything, and all nice and clean, and yeah.
Finger gun? Could you finger guns in it? Did they let you do that?
No.
I think they let you do anything in the photo.
There was a was it somebody in my work or something? They sent like a screenshot. Somebody I knew tried to take the picture, and it was quite obviously their face, but it said face not found across the front of it.
Oh, they
It's
must
like,
look really bland. They're like in Arrested Development, that TV show.
That's
whenever
exactly what I was thinking.
Michael Cera's girlfriend, Anne, in it, is just like, she's so bland that nobody even knows she's there half the time. And it's like they keep forgetting her name. They're just like,
Egg.
Anne, who? Who? And it's like, you let her in. But yeah, that's what that feels like. That's it for quickfire news. I feel like I didn't do bad there. That was slightly quicker. Oh, ASMR of a Pepsi opening.
So I think it's the fears of this Omnicron stuff.
Yeah. Omicron.
Omicron.
They should have named it something.
Omicron.
Delta. I like the Delta variant the best. I think that was
actually-
easy to say.
I actually like the way Biden pronounced it, because like he made it sound like some sort of like doom cage that people fight to the death in. And we have the Omnicron virus. Welcome to the Omnicron.
I remember back in my day, Omnicron was a fight cage. We'd all go and wrestle in our briefs. I don't know. He's old, is what I'm getting at.
I bet you'll like Omnicron more after I tell you something that's connected to it. But I'll tell you, when I went to the doctor on last week, like vaxxed and everything, blah, 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 walking to the doctor.
Yep.
Hi, how you doing, blah, blah, blah. It's like, not bad, because you're double vaccinated. This is a doctor.
Yep.
Doctor. No mask. Everyone else is wearing a mask. I come in with a mask.
Yep.
Nurse goes, take a seat there. I'm like, thanks. Took a seat. Doctor goes, are you double vaccinated? I'm like, yes. He's like, you comfortable just taking it off? I'm like, sure.
Alright.
Doctor's not wearing a mask, and I'm like, you're the doctor. I'm fine. So I was like,
Sure.
weird.
That
But,
was weird.
Yeah.
I
But
thought you were gonna say, and then he coughed in my face.
No. But the Omnicron is spelt different. It's spelt with a K. But can you look up, and even if you want to share it on screen, David Bowie was connected to a video game, I don't know if it's called Omnicron. It might be called something else. It's spelled Omikron.
I think I heard about this. Yeah.
And he's visually in it. He done the music and he's part of it as well.
Yeah. So I think, am I right in thinking? So
It'll probably be under a different name though.
no, I know. That's why I'm looking to see, because I think it's Omicron, isn't it?
Omicron, yeah, whatever.
Omicron. No, there's no N in the middle for Omnicron, but that's maybe what the thing is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a game by Quantic Dream. Do you remember those guys?
That's what triggered me in my head. I was like, that sounds similar to this freaking game.
They're also a Canadian rap, crunk, and electric group formed in Montreal.
Do you remember crunk?
Omnicron. Wait, sorry, do you want to just hear this again, though? Omnicron is a Canadian rap, crunk, and electro group formed in Montreal. I'll say it a third time. Omnicron is a Canadian rap, crunk, and electro group. And
When were they formed?
I don't know how to say this without being, like... They're like... I don't know. He looks like he's a little white dweeby guy. I feel bad because maybe they're really good, but I mean, he's not really the face of crunk by any means. Yeah, I wouldn't say. I'm just really trying to like take the whole thing in. That first of all, they're Canadian, and also saying that they make crunk. I don't know. The two don't really seem to flow.
Still going? When did you say they're formed? I wonder, are they getting like extra traffic now?
Let's check. Yeah, they might be accidental traffic. What is it? Everybody keeps talking about Omnicron. And it's just like, oh no, they're just like Canadian rap crunk electro
They must be
group.
blowing up.
Don't forget about the electro element that's there. It's all in French. Why is Wikipedia in French for me? L'Encyclopédie Libre? What? I don't... English, please. There it is. Oh my god. Okay, Wikipedia, you want money. I get it. Just threw it up in my face. EPs. I wonder, do they rap in French as well? Because the album titles are in French. It seems like they have an album in 2007 called Trop Banane, and in 2009, Comme à la télévision. That's it. So I assume that they stopped after 2009.
Gonna search it out and give it a listen.
I think we should go and definitely have a listen to this afterwards. Yeah, Omnicron. So that's Omnikrom, and let's all reconvene next week with how terrible it is.
Go listen to some Omnicron while playing Omicron and watching the news about Omicron.
About Omicron. Omicron. I don't know. I'm confused at this stage. Yeah, I don't know. Preferred Delta, personally. It was my favorite mutation. Yeah, so I don't know. Things seem... I don't know. They say things seem bad. I'm just under no illusion of the whole thing. You see, at the start, I'm not gonna lie to anyone. In like January, I was like, this is all like bull. Like in January of 2020, I didn't really believe it was a thing and it was gonna be an issue here. I was one of those people. And then whenever it was, and you realize that, oh no, this is a global pandemic that we're gonna live in. In the summer, I think we could all accept that. All evidence towards all other pandemics was like a 3-year trend. First wave being bad, but second wave being awful. Then vaccinations being introduced. Third wave always tails off, and then every wave after that is less of a wave, more of a like a bump. Like it's not that big a deal afterwards, and then you get rid of it, and it's a yearly vaccination, and it takes 3 years to get to that stage. I kind of accepted that in the first year, so I feel bad because so many people keep like thinking, well, maybe the Christmas will be fine. It's like Christmas, it'll be fine, but don't think that it's gone. Like it's not gonna. I don't know. I think we're living this till 2023 easy. Like I don't know. That's just my opinion. If you believe that it exists, that's another way you can go. All made up, clearly. Anyway, that's enough COVID garbage. I think you hear enough about that, but, you know. feel important to inform the people of the live show situation, because I think that's gonna be a problem. It's why I don't even like. I could get tickets to shows. I mean, like, Christmas around the corner. I don't really want to pay for tickets to shows and stuff like that. But I just think it's pointless. It's pointless doing them. It's pointless accepting shows. I mean, I want it to be up and running again, but I just feel like the percentage is so high of it being cancelled. Like, I feel like there's a good 70%, 70 to 80% chance that it's not going to happen. You know, if something's booked for December here or January. I don't know. I hope for the best, but I just can't see it. Is that just me? Am I being too negative?
No. But we followed all the rules and got everything they said for us to get. Why is it? Nah, fuck.
Why is it still not working?
Whatever.
I know. I can't wait till
Is
I get
that
my
like in relation to gigs and stuff?
Yeah.
I just book stuff really late now because I don't think there's the same amount of people going. So like if you're looking tickets for stuff, like
Yeah.
book them on the day. If
I
it's still
know.
going
I just
ahead.
don't want to. It's my thing with, like, oh, if it's work involved as well, and it's like, oh, it should sort of shift out with work, and I got this organized, so I'm off work, and blah blah blah. That would annoy me. I think if it got to the point, it's just like, oh, that's been cancelled. And
I'm
like,
talking
ugh.
more. It's like I see a gig that I want to go to, and I know that night I'm not working, or the next day I'm off, or whatever, and it's like, okay, that would be interesting, and it's like 4 weeks out or something, but I just leave it
Yeah.
because for the most part, I don't think things are selling out at the minute, and I just leave it till maybe the week of, a couple of
Yeah.
days before, and then I just grab my ticket then if it still looks like it's all okay.
I'm gonna remember this, Mike, because don't come crawling to me whenever you want time off from the podcast to go to a gig, because it's not happened. We can't afford it at this moment in time.
I
We
don't
need you
think
here.
there's much kicking off on Wednesdays, to be honest, at the minute.
Wednesday is the new Friday, and Friday is the new Sunday. I don't know. Yeah, let's get off COVID. So, you know, I feel like we can't really do the show without talking about this, although it is sad news. Fashion designer Virgil Abloh has died of cancer. Abloh. We talked about him quite a lot on this show. We used to always like do a bit of a bit where we would like make fun of it because we could never remember his last name at the like for so long. It was always like Virgil blah blah blah. Like yeah, it kind of shocked me a bit whenever I seen it because you just don't expect it. The guy was 41 years old. He had cancer and he was just kind of dealing with it in private. For anybody who maybe hasn't listened to those previous shows or sort of knows what he's about, he's done so many things, man. He's like, you know, he's a designer, he's an artist, he's a CEO of Off-White. He's referenced in so many rap songs. He's done album covers for people like, I mean, Kanye, Watch the Throne. He's worked
done
with
A$AP Rocky.
A$AP Rocky. There's like a lot of album covers he designed, and he's worked with like Kanye and Drake and Pharrell and Tyler, the Creator. It's just, he just seemed to be universally loved within the hip hop community, especially. And, you know, he was like, I believe he was like the first black creator for Louis Vuitton or something crazy like this. Yeah, basically he just seemed to be like completely loved in the community of hip hop because he had such innovative ideas. And yeah, it sucks. I didn't really expect to see it. Like, we always just had that little joke about every time his name would come up because it would come up so often. And yeah, sucks, man.
Sure, in the I can't remember what song it is, but a Kanye verse says he put him, Drake, and Virgil in a group chat, and that's probably what they were talking about.
Probably.
You know what I mean?
And, you know, it's funny the things that come to light because I think there's been quite a lot of evidence to actually prove this. I think maybe Kanye's people have spoke about this now, but, you know, like that made me feel slightly guilty. But, like, you know, we made fun of, like, the whole Kanye haircut thing, but it's starting to come out that Kanye was actually doing that in support of Virgil going through chemo. So, like, the reason he cut his hair so, like, sporadically and randomly, he didn't just shave it all, but he, like, literally buzzed random bits out of it, and he shaved his eyebrows off, was for Virgil. Because, man, those guys were so tight. I mean, yeah, he definitely you know that he knew about the whole thing, despite Virgil not talking about it. And it's crazy because I was gonna say he was tight with Chadwick Boseman as well, and he also done the same thing where it's like they just kept working till like the last day, and I don't know, not that that should be a standard for it by any means, but you just wouldn't even knew, one of those things. But yeah, it just felt like we should definitely mention it, give a shout out, have a sip from a boy.
His like clothes and stuff are gonna go crazy. Like his trainers and stuff were already
14
to 2,300.
Yeah, and I mean there were so many things. Like they had his last Louis Vuitton day there. They obviously done it as a bit of a like memorial for him as well, but it was like his final pieces of work that were out there, and they done all kinds of cool stuff for it. There's like big drone displays and stuff, and that
was crazy.
It was insane. Like Kanye was there, Pharrell was there, and yeah, it's sad, man. And the last hip hop thing, as far as I'm aware, that he worked on was Donda, because he was like credited as art director of Donda. So like all the work on the live shows and things like that, I think he always played a part in it. Like whenever he done those live shows, and it was like Kanye's childhood home, or like the way that they would go about things, the live stream and stuff. I think, as far as I'd read, that he played a part in a lot of that too. Because I know that Kanye always went to him for things like that. But yeah, man, very sad. Just in case you see it all over Instagram, and if you follow follow the likes of Kanye and stuff, and you might not know about Virgil's stuff. Despite him, like, you'll always hear Virgil coming up in a Drake song, like, every 2 seconds. Like, Virgil's always mentioned.
He's everywhere. He's on Drake's song, 2 Chainz, Griselda, friggin' Kanye. He's all over the place.
I know. But yeah, nuts. Didn't really expect to hear that one.
Yeah. I mean, it's always in hindsight what you feel, but, you have to celebrate people whilst they're still here, I guess.
Yeah. It's funny that you say that, man, just for Ryan Reynolds actually said that about the whole, the award that he got and all the celebration and the things they put together for him. It was like, he tweeted and he was like, I'm so glad that I'm not dead and I can be here to appreciate this, because most of the time people are dead when they get this sort of thing. And he was like, he just put it in real life perspective, and he goes, and you should just like think of like 5 or 10 people that you appreciate and just like let them know today, because all this stuff happens after you're gone and you're not even there to know. So he was like, I would just go and do that, because that was amazing for him. And you could see it was genuine. Like, he really, you gotta imagine like some kid from Montreal growing up and then being like a global superstar and his whole country backing him. Like, must be weird to have all these people that he grew up with. Like, the age that he has to be, that, like, he listened to the Bare Naked Ladies growing up, and now they're writing a song in tribute of him and all the good that he's done, all the charities that he's funded and stuff, and, yeah, it is, in hindsight, it's much, much more different.
Because it's like, it's all well and good, like, once someone's gone, everybody can say whatever, but the person's not there to go, you didn't say that.
I don't like you.
Just for attention. Well, you don't.
Yeah, I know. I know, that's the worst. But yeah, look, R.I.P, rest bar, all that stuff. Too sad. Let's move on. Spotify Wrapped.
Fuck off.
Oh God.
Fuck off.
Spotify Wrapped. Spotify Wrapped. I don't have any music for Spotify Wrapped.
Yeah, you do yourself. You weirdo.
Everybody's putting up those streaming stats pictures today as well.
I know.
Which is
look
fun,
how many people.
right?
Look how many people listen
to go
my
onto
band.
Facebook. If anybody goes on Facebook anymore, and just see everybody's streaming stats. Like,
Look how many times
nobody
people listen to
cares.
my band. Oh my God, you guys are so amazing that you listen to my band 5,000 minutes. Or, I don't know. It's like, I don't even know what that translates into. I don't really care. I know I'm my biggest fan. But I should say now that, like, I'm trying to give myself a little bit of an out here. It's the fact that you can clearly see from my top artist of the year, of the sharing of my account with my wife because, like, yes, I am there, but I know that Sarah will listen to me too, and she'll probably come in the comments and be like, "No, I don't." That's just
Oh, yeah,
you, buddy.
excuse, yeah.
That is
This
just you,
this
man.
is your alibi.
But it's like, okay, so if she listens to it as well, it's like top artist of the whole year for me was me. It was John Maple. Second top artist, The Wiggles. I was like, that it shows you how much Sarah is using Spotify, I think, compared to me. And I think I listen to it quite a lot. But it's like Don Maple, then The Wiggles, then I think it was Kanye, and then it was like Kanye, Drake, and Tyler, the Creator. So it's like my stats are only coming in the bottom there.
I bet you like
that's definitely
your,
me.
Your Spotify stats are making the Spotify algorithm smoke a little bit. It's starting to struggle. It's like, what the fuck is going on? What music do we throw this person? What age
I
are
was
they?
wondering why my
What
app
genre
keeps
do they
crashing.
like?
Yeah. Is this man three years old? Like, is this a white 3-year-old child, or is this like a 30-year-old black male? We don't know. We don't know for sure.
No,
They can't work out who I am.
I did take a look at mine today, but
haven't
I
looked
don't
at
think
mine
it's ever right, and I feel like there's some sort of scandal about the whole thing. There's a conspiracy to be had with Spotify Wrapped. I don't believe the stats.
I think because I've given up posting it, but I'll just tell you anyway because it's here. Mine's Drake at 1, Pop Smoke at 2, Thando at 3. He's that African rapper from last year.
I remember talking.
J. Cole 4, and Child at 5.
That's a pretty signed list. It's better than mine.
Do you have to? Can you get it on your?
And I've
phone,
also
or
moved
can you-
back to Apple Music.
I don't know. Yeah. Get it. You can get it on your phone, Mike. If you open Spotify, you'll be able to just.
You can't. You can't do it from PC though, or anything, can you?
No, I think you can as well. But it's gonna play you a stupid video where it'd be like, if your life was a movie, the opening credits
Yeah, I know.
would be
It's
this
like-
song, and it's
They
just
try to
like
make it so yeah.
ABC by the Wiggles or something like, or I don't know. Because mine was all over the place because it plays the songs in the background, and it was kind of going from like Tyler just like swearing at me, and it's just like, your opening scene would be Tyler the Creator Corso, and it's like pulling up in the Rolls Royce, blah blah blah, and then the next one it was just like, I like to eat apples and bananas, and it's like, oh my god, this is all over the place. This is why I don't post my Spotify.
How many?
Wrapped.
I just looked here. Apparently, it said that I've listened to 1,074 different artists this year.
Damn, that's good.
I can't be. I don't get it.
Hey, guess what my top podcast was?
You gonna blame that one on Sarah too?
No, that's me after I post the podcast and then make sure that
You
the
have to
podcast
listen to it.
works.
Yeah.
Make sure that I haven't accidentally posted like a dodgy version of the podcast. So yes, I do have to listen to ours every single time I post it, which makes it my most listened to show.
That's fair.
Yeah, I just make sure that like the start's fine and the end's fine. Usually skip the middle where we actually talk. But, you know, I constantly make a mistake of posting a version that has a big gap at the start because it's the direct stream from our live stream on YouTube where, like, we don't go live immediately. And it's like I forget to cut the gap out. I like to make sure that I haven't done that. But, yeah, so really my favorite person this year was me. And I think there's nothing wrong with that. You gotta love yourself.
Bit of self-love, yeah. That's it.
Self-love. Love yourself before you can love anybody else. That's Don Maple.
But then what if you
2021.
what if you still don't love yourself, but still also listen to yourself a lot?
Yeah, that's where I'm at. That's exactly where I'm at right now. I look in the mirror, I'm like, you fucking piece of shit, fucking hate you. But you know what? Your song slaps so hard.
But yeah,
Yeah.
no, I made the transition again over to Apple Music.
And what was that decision based on?
Apple's cool.
No, I think I just wanted a change, I guess, and just Spotify just looks too just it's too much going on.
I feel like I'm just going through my rap thing. I'm only on the movie thing, but I feel like my Spotify thing is like a couple of years old because like I've started re-listening to stuff that was out ages ago. Opening credits theme Gretel, Alex G.
yeah.
What's the next one?
That's not as old as I thought. I thought you were gonna be like America by Razorlight or
Take
something.
Me Where Your Heart Is by a guy called Q. I don't know if you've heard that, but it's a very, very good song. And then Champagne Coast by Blood Orange. These are all like, I have not been listening to music from this year, I don't think.
No, I guess not. No, I guess not.
Is it towards the end where it gives you your top?
Yeah,
What,
it'll be
you
the
guys
last-
looking
it'll
top
be the last
albums
slide.
or top artists or what?
I said top artists is what I was talking about.
It gives you
Anyway,
top artists and top
top songs and
songs.
stuff. I don't even know what mine are. Again, all over the show, and some of them are mine. So I'm not gonna talk about how many times I've listened to my own song.
814 different artists. What was yours? Was 1,000 or something? Was it? Yeah.
1074. Yeah.
I see. I can't get on my phone now because I use it for this show. So I use it as the soundboard for the show, so I can't really like take it off to check that
I
stuff.
can't remember what my top songs were. Oh, here we go.
Oh, here we go. Top artists: Jose Gonzalez, Mitsumi, Drake, Babe Heaven, and Eve's Tumor.
Ah, damn! You're listening to Mitsume.
Yeah.
Mitsume. Man,
Yeah,
I put you
you've
onto
done-
those guys, didn't I?
years ago, you made a
Yeah.
playlist for me, and I haven't stopped listening to those
I
guys.
did
since.
good.
They're incredible. Yeah, top songs: CZ, Jackie by Eve's Tumor, Kerosene by Eve's Tumor, November by Babe Heaven, and Equip Sunglasses by what do you call that punk band?
I know that song, but I can't remember who they're called.
I'll tell you now. It's a good song.
Yeah, I
Hot
can't get it.
Mulligan.
Hot Mulligan. That's it.
Check those guys out. It's like old school pop punk sort of stuff. It's great.
I know. Well, that's why I do. I brought up the thing, and I was really surprised at this whenever it tells you what sort of genres you're listening to, and I think my top genre was classic rock, and I think in years past it's always been hip hop, to be honest, but it was
Yeah.
the bottom of the pile for me. It was like classic
Is
rock.
that though because
Pop punk.
things are getting scary now, and what is considered classic rock is like literally just stuff that we listened to about
Well,
20
I don't know.
years
Like,
ago.
you know what I think it is though, because I have a playlist. It's literally called classics, because like
So
back
it's
in the-
actually classic rock. It's not like
Yeah,
people
like, but-
that try and make like rock from 10 years ago even
Yeah.
older than it is.
I would say there's so much music that I was truly discovering whenever I first got a car and it only had a CD player, and I would find these songs and I would try and make like an actual like a good mix, because I can only fit like 20 tracks on this thing, like when I were burning CDs, because I had to do it that way. And I made like, I think I had 30 CDs that was like classics 1, classics 2, and it's like I knew what songs were on each one, and I knew what song should go into the next one, which is really weird because obviously they're just completely different artists. But that was like really just running through. I think it was just a stage in my life where I was like, I don't really like music that's happening right now. I'm gonna start going backwards, and you know, I just started like going back through all these bands. Like the Beatles I already loved, but like I just became obsessed. Done the Beach Boys, Led Zeppelin, then started going further back, and it's like I'm listening to like 1950s like Dean Martin and stuff, like all this old country music. So I have a playlist I made on Spotify that contains all of those songs. So it's like hundreds and hundreds of songs of all these old classic ones, and it's kind of the best one to put on if you're just like in the house and you're chilling or you're having dinner or whatever, and you put it on the background. So I think the reason it's my top stat is because I'm always listening to it on like my Echo Echo Dot. Like it's kind of just in the background. I'm not actually listening to it. It's just there. But the amount of hours it must be on for is the problem, because it goes from classic rock to like pop punk and then folk rock, and then it like gets down to
feel
hip
like
hop
that's-
at the bottom. It's weird.
In previous years, whenever I got like my favorite song was something that I did not agree with, or
Yeah.
like
Yeah, I was
that's
the
why
same.
it happens, because you like leave stuff on like rotate or shuffle
yeah, you
or
just
something.
leave it playing, yeah. Because if you think about like, you know, if obviously not during the pandemic so much, but like we would have had a lot of house party things, and like say at a Halloween house party, like we leave that playlist running of like, I don't know, like 8 hours of Halloween-inspired music. It's
What
like
are you
that.
telling me? My favorite song of the year was Korn covers Nightmare
Yeah,
Before
yeah,
Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kidnap the Sandy Claus by Korn.
Yeah.
Top song of the
Well,
year.
that was played 40 times in one night.
Yeah,
Whenever you had too
that's-
much to drink and you had a Halloween party and people were over.
Yeah, that's the issue with Spotify Wrapped. It's I mean, it's a literal reflection of stats. It doesn't actually mean what you've listened to the most. Because I know my most listened to album this year will be Tyler. I know it will. And next is probably Kanye with Donda. Those are 2 things I listen to the most. 100%. But they definitely don't show up in the stats that way.
Yeah.
Oh, well, what are you gonna do? But yeah, it's a thing, and you know what? Congratulations to all the bands out there that are being like, you guys are the best. This is me typing, by the way, if you're listening on audio only, so if you hear me click-clacking, it's because I'm typing. I'm saying, you guys are the best. We couldn't have done this without you. We are so amazed by the amount of streams that you guys have posted. Please tag us if we have showed up on your Spotify Wrapped. Oh, we're going to get so many more streams next year. We love ourselves. We look at ourselves in the mirror every day and we say, look how many streams you got. You're a hero. You're the best person ever. And you're also fairly attractive. And you're the best person to ever play the guitar. The end.
Are you a human band or are you a robot?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just like, good job, everyone. We're all so proud of you.
You haven't came across Metronomy's one, have you?
No,
I
what
liked it.
There's
They've
also a
obviously-
sarcastic one as well.
Yeah.
You're gonna
That's
get in
also
that?
a thing too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
They've just photoshopped it. Metronomy. It's like the same layout as all the other ones. 1 gazillion streams, 40 batrillion listeners, 3 drazillion R's, and infinity countries. Thanks to everyone who listened to us this year. This data is awesome, but come on, let's add a 0 to some of those numbers next year, huh?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There is a format to those posts, like.
It's so dumb.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, Spotify Wrap. That's that. See, the only other thing I don't really have on my notes here tonight. I don't even have that much tonight. It's just that I started watching the Beatles documentary on. You okay there, Mike?
No, I have an overflow
dear.
problem.
Oh,
Sorry.
he's having a beer overflow problem, I think. Yeah.
You were
I'm
talking
hoping
about the
most people-
Beatles
most
again, and
people
the
are,
universe just went sprinkle disaster.
Yeah.
I'm hoping most people are listening to the audio version this week and aren't seeing me struggle with my beer slightly overflowing and about to spill all over my keyboard and
Yeah,
microphone.
you don't want that. Anyways, watching
right.
Get Back documentary. It's on Disney Plus now. All 3 parts are out. Peter Jackson just being the person that he is. It's like every part is like 2 hours 30 minutes or something. So there's like 3 parts. It's a
Is there
lengthy
a
watch.
battle scene in it?
There is a
With
part where they all fight him for Middle Earth. So I got confused at that part. I didn't remember that.
Yeah. Like CGI elephants and stuff up on the roof with them.
Billy Connolly randomly showed up CGI'd, and it's just like I was confused by the whole thing. It's pretty good. I say pretty good. It's actually really good. I am a huge Beatles fanatic. I've always said that. Yeah, dude. Yeah. Did you not
Get
know?
Out of here.
You didn't know?
Out.
Yeah, man. You didn't know that I liked them?
I always thought he was joking. I've only lived with him for like
I thought the
20 years of my life.
the ginormous canvas above my fireplace might give it away. Whenever you enter my home, my family home, it's like just four grown men staring down at you from the fireplace. Yeah, it's just cool to get a different perspective on it. And yeah, I'm not gonna go deep nerdy on the Beatles on this podcast because I know that nobody cares. But it's just that the original Let It Be documentary that used the footage, that like there was so many hundreds of hours of footage, and Peter Jackson has used that same footage. It's crazy to see what a director can do and spin a narrative on. The original Let It Be
It's a very
documentary.
different picture.
Oh, it originally portrayed the falling out of the Beatles, the end of the era, the fact that they all hated each other at the end, really just the times whenever they became frustrated. And I feel like it was done in such a bad way. And you know, these 3 parts on Disney Plus really show, like, despite the sort of I wouldn't say infighting, but not seeing eye to eye so much as they mature as musicians and adults, you know, it's not that bad. They actually talk things out quite a bit, you know, even whenever it was portrayed in the original documentary, you just cut it at the right time. It seems like they're fighting.
The worst parts, yeah.
Yeah, they're not so much, you know. Really, the setup of Peter Jackson's documentary explains why it's so tense and uncomfortable, and it's not so much to do with Yoko Ono as everybody thinks from the original one, because she does seem so annoying.
When was the original one done?
1970.
Oh yeah, that's why. Film
Yeah.
and documentaries have got so much better than that.
Is that the way it goes then? He kind of explains the scenario at the start, and then he kind of just lets the footage more speak for itself.
It's not that, so, I mean, Peter Jackson never shows up. It's just that they,
Yeah,
you know, it flags things on the screens and sort of explains the circumstances, and the fact that it's so long in comparison to, like, the shorter documentary that Let It Be is.
Yeah,
You know,
it
this
gives you
is
more
giving
space
you
to see all
Yeah,
the different moving aspects of what was going
sort
on
of
at the time.
the actual
instead of, yeah.
candid conversation between the guys of what's happening, and it's
Well, that's
like,
what I read about it was one of the impressive things about the whole thing, and like I seen the trailer for it, and right away, like the footage itself, just the way it's been restored, is scary. Like if you watch it on like a decent high def
looks
TV, it looks like you're looking through a window almost.
It looks
it's
so
kind of
good.
crazy, but the whatever way they like extracted out the audio to pick up the conversations while they're in the middle of trying to, like, apparently that was quite impressive, the technology that they're using there and stuff to actually drown out any background noise to actually hear what they're saying.
there's actually a part at the start where you can hear one of the guys that's doing the sound mixing for the whole thing say, "Can you guys turn down a bit?" It's like you're drowning out the candid conversation. And the funniest thing about it all is, like, I mean, they're obviously doing it and they've agreed to do it, but they just keep making fun of the fact that they're trying to record them for a TV special, because it wasn't even meant to be a documentary. It wasn't meant to be a movie. The whole idea was meant to be that they were gonna, their album that they were doing, because, like, the Beatles, the reason I love them so much is they keep trying to, like, break new ground at a time whenever none of this stuff was done. And what they wanted to do for their album was, like, actually record the album, like, fully and properly in front of a live audience, like, for real, which had never really been done before. And make that part of the atmosphere in just as the album. It's not like it was a live album, it was going to be new songs.
Yeah.
But they wanted people there for it. And then they were like, well, we'll film it as well, and we'll do it on, like, a TV set, and we'll make it a TV special. So it was going to be an album that they would have to perform live with no overdubs, and they were going to get a TV special out of it. Now, the whole thing obviously didn't end up working that way, because you know what the mistake was that they should have known from day one? They wanted to do this all in 14 days in January in England, and the idea was that yes, the guys write some of their own material by themselves, but they were just bringing their own stuff in. They didn't have the songs written, so they wanted to write and record songs in 14 days.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the 2 weeks, they were going to do the live performance in front of a studio audience that they would bring in and make that the album. Obviously, no. Obviously, that was never going to work. Like, they can barely get through it after, like, 7 days. They're just like, we have 4 songs. Like, it's not going to work. Which is, it's funny to actually see this now through the footage, because all I've, like, probably the most books I've read in my life have all been Beatles, like, you know, I don't know, talking about different times in the Beatles' lives and things like that, and biographies like that. That's the most I've read, because I just find it fascinating, and it's cool to actually see this all happen in real time. So, like, you know, they're filming this thing, and it's just like, all they keep doing is making fun of the fact that they're filming them, like, because they think it's so stupid, like, that, you know, you have these American producer types, like, trying to be like, can you guys just turn down a little bit there? We're just trying to pick up the conversation and get this. And then they start being highly, British sarcastic where they're not getting it. And it's so stupid. My favorite thing of all, and I'm going to stop talking about it after this point because I could go on for too long, is that there's a guy in it called Michael. I forget what his last name is. I think he's it's a cool name, but he's an annoying guy. So he seems to be American, and
Same.
he's trying to he keeps trying to convince them of this one idea that he has, because the whole thing is that they're gonna do the performance, and at first it's like, oh, are they gonna do it on this TV set, which is where they're writing the songs? But he's like, no, you got to do something bigger than that. And he has this idea in his head that they go to Arabia, and they're gonna perform there at this amphitheater. And they don't want to leave the country. They're fed up after years of being the Beatles. Like, they don't want to do this stuff anymore. They just want to perform in England. And the original idea was the TV studio. He keeps suggesting it every 5 minutes. This guy is showing up, and he's just like, at one point he's just like, okay, and all I'm saying is you got to do something bigger, guys. Just imagine 200 Arabs, an amphitheater, torch lit over the water. And it's just like, you gotta stop. So they just start toying with him at a certain point and making fun of the whole situation. But he's obsessed with this thing about going to Arabia and performing out in the desert somewhere. And they're like, we don't want to leave England. We don't want to travel anywhere. They get fed up with it. But yeah, that's the funniest part. But yeah, it's very good. I feel like unless you're fully clued in on the Beatles, it might not be quite as enjoyable. But man, I just find myself laughing out loud the whole way through it because it's so funny.
At least they all lived quiet lives after that.
Yeah, everything turned out in the end. Everything turned out well after that.
It's like, now we don't want to do Arabia, and then fast forward years later, it's like, I am Jesus.
Yeah. But it is quite fun to see, and for any younger bands or even just people that are in bands that watch this, I think one of the funniest things to see, especially in that first part, is there's a stage where you can see that they're not coming up with any ideas, they just can't get there, and they're bored, but they also know that they're trying to do this thing, and it's there's a point where Paul's on the drums, Yoko's just screaming into a microphone. We're just playing absolute garbage. She's just screaming ah, and it's just what
Is that a Family Guy joke? Is this something?
Is this something?
Is this something?
Is this something?
That was live on a show, right, or something? They performed that, and she was on some talk show. Wasn't that a thing?
No, that it did sound similar to her actual own music, which sounds quite a lot like that all the time. But it's just, to me, it was Mike will know from times whenever we've played in bands. You remember those times whenever you would be in the room together and you're just trying to try and jam stuff out, guys, and you're trying to work out something, it all, it just sounds like a cacophony.
Everybody just plays 4 separate things.
Yeah, it's absolute garbage.
I'm ignoring the rest of those guys at the minute. I'm not jamming yet. I'm trying to find a little noodle thing, and then everybody else is trying to find a noodle thing, and it just sounds it sounds absolutely horrible.
My favorite thing is George Harrison and Paul talking, and Paul's I just don't think it's there yet, all this sort of stuff, and he says to George about it, and he's trying to use this example of George is playing over everything, and he's like, I think the problem is I'm trying to work out my part here. It's have you worked out your bass part yet? So I'm trying to work out my part, and you haven't worked out your part yet. And it's it's just becoming, and I was just oh my god, these guys are the most successful band in the world, and I feel this is the same conversation I had in a band. Yeah. It's just no different.
100%.
It's funny. But yeah, it's a lot of fun to watch, and if you're into the songs, it's kind of amazing to see how some of them are created. Again, things that I had just read in books of I know there's a song in the last album called One After 909, and I knew that was an old song, as in Paul McCartney wrote it when he was 15 or something like that. And what I had read in the book is just directly proved through this new footage of basically they know they're not getting any ideas, and then they start feeling the pressure of we can't write this many songs in 14 days, so they start backtracking to really old things that they thought were terrible, and just using them anyway. And they come up with this song where they think it's so bad and the lyrics are so dumb that they're gonna do it, and they put it on the record. And it's funny once you have that backstory and you start listening to it, because like the lyrics don't really make any sense. And he was like, they talk about it in the documentary. It's just so much fun to see them being like, this is such a stupid song we wrote, but we're gonna have to throw it in there because we need something else. But yeah, highly recommend it.
There you go.
Also, Hawkeye's out. I am a sponsor for Disney Plus.
I don't have it.
Yeah, I do. You know what though? Definitely doesn't work for streaming properly yet. There's so many times I'm watching a show and the audio like pops in. It's like an old record player where the audio like pops on you.
I thought that was just me.
No, it's everyone.
I only have Disney Plus because Stu has Disney Plus. Disney, please don't. I'm sure you're scanning this podcast right now.
Mickey's coming for you.
And blow up my PlayStation or something, please.
We're gonna need a separate account, Michael.
Yeah.
Look what we're complaining about.
No, I
popping
noticed
audio on PlayStations. Oh, fuck.
I know. It becomes super irritating though. It's just like every once in a while the audio just does that thing where
like
it's just like
tearing or something.
kind of yeah. It sounds like a record player that like your record's all scratched or dusty or something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, it is meant to be streaming in 4K. It's like I pick a movie that's like stream it in 4K and Ultra HD, and it's like, oh yeah, but the audio doesn't work. And you try and Google it, and people are like, oh, don't set it to Dolby. I can't deal with Dolby. And I'm like, okay, I've done that.
I shouldn't have
and
to be a sound technician here to play a movie. I just want to sit down and hit play.
Still doesn't work anyway. And the most common answer is like, yeah, Disney still just doesn't have this figured out entirely. It's like, cool, that's good to know.
That like friggin' having to go into like fucking IT tech mode whenever I got my PlayStation, and apparently the PlayStation 5 won't work with older, like I'm talking the surround sound system that I had. I'm
Trigger
sure
warning for anyone that doesn't have a PS5. The privilege. I mean, what?
We used our white privilege to get white PS5s.
Shut up, man. You're all happy there with your Xbox. That's the way you wanted to go anyways.
I ain't happy, dude.
Oh, are you not? What about all those games on Game Pass? Keep telling us how great it is.
Oh.
Hey, I'm just gonna say now though, but it's the fact that my PS4 is still upstairs, and like you see every once in a while whenever it's like, oh, put something on the PS4 in bed, and it's like you turn it on. I'm like, first of all, it's like you start it up and it goes.
Yeah,
it's like the fan. I was like, did it always sound like this? I don't know. I feel like you immediately get spoiled for like how good the new thing is.
Yeah.
It's the same of like, you know, I played me and Mike just again we keep stealing from companies. We're splitting the cost of the Spider-Man Miles Morales DLC thing because they
Tip
put
for
it down
anybody
for
that
Black
has
Friday.
PlayStation 4 or 5. Do you know that you can share games basically if you just make somebody else's PlayStation your home PlayStation?
Make another PlayStation your primary PlayStation, and then you can download a game on one, and then just re-download it from the other one, and it means you can split the cost of games in two. That's awesome.
If anybody wants details, just drop us a message.
Yeah, I'll let you know how to do it. Anyways, we bought that, and I was playing it, and the first time I put it in 60 frames per second, I was like, this is amazing. And then I've played it a couple of times, and I don't even notice that it's a thing anymore. And I'm like, I have to put it back to the other mode to realize how good it is. I hate how quick you get used to something. If you put it back to the one that has like fidelity, like so it has ray tracing and stuff, and it's 30 frames per second.
That's the way I'm playing everything. Because I don't want to get used to 60 frames a second because
I got used to it way too quick, and I can't go back. 30 frames per second makes it feel like everything's like skipping on me. Yeah, it feels really laggy.
I actually meant to ask you, we were talking just before the podcast started, Andy's saying he's replaying Control. What settings are you going with?
I think I told you this, is in Control, Control wasn't as much of an issue. So in Spider-Man...
Well, it's reflections or...
No. It's what I'm saying is in Spider-Man, whenever you reset the display controls, you have to go back to a checkpoint. In Control, you could just switch them. And Like
I did not know that about Spider-Man. I've just been playing it in
no,
the high fidelity mode.
it makes you go back to a checkpoint, so
right.
it's you can't really flip between them too much. In Control, you could, and I played it mainly in the 60 FPS because everything's so smooth and fluid. I feel like it's better to play the game and like doesn't feel like things lag. But then if I would be alone in a room where I just wanted to explore, I would change it so it had ray tracing on because everything looked really
I
good
feel like
in
this
that
really
mode.
takes you out of the game. Why
it
did they
does.
make this a choice? Because
I
feel like
hate that it's a
everybody is
choice.
going into the menu
Yeah.
and constantly flicking back and forth depending on where they are in a game. Is it somewhere where I want like a fight to be like smooth and stuff while I'm playing, or is it somewhere where I just want to look at stuff and go,
Yeah.
"Damn, that's cool
I
reflections and
100%
shit,
agree,
shadows
and
and lights."
I know how nerdy this is getting for people, but like it's turning into a gaming podcast and
Yeah.
it shouldn't be that. But anyways, the thing with Control that got me is the main thing, because you can talk all this stuff about lighting, but like you said, it was the reflections. So if you play that game on 60 FPS, everything's really fluid and fast, and it feels good to play it that way. But if you look at a window, I mean, you just see through the window. Then if you switch on ray tracing, where it drops down to maybe like 30 FPS, you can see your reflection in the window. And that was the most evident thing to me, where I'm like, oh man, that looks cool though.
Yeah.
That looks sweet. But whenever I'm fighting, I don't really need to see that because
Yeah,
things
you're
are blowing
not
up.
checking yourself out in
Yeah,
the
it
reflection of
doesn't-
the window.
Things are blowing up, and it's all sort of like, I don't know, it doesn't seem fast enough anymore. It seems like I'm on a bad internet connection, and yeah.
I'm so interested what way you play in Control, Andy, because like he's super into this as well, and it's like I really don't know which. I keep picking fidelity, but like
I
always go for FPS. Like,
Yeah, I always go for what's the smoothest. I've done that even like
is that
with Neo.
because you mostly play shooters though? Is that
No, well, even with like the likes of Neo 2 on PS4, it had that performance. Or I always want the game to run smoothly with as little to no stutter as possible. Yeah, I always graphics to me and all this ray tracing stuff. It doesn't. If the gameplay's trash, then that means nothing to me.
that's what gets me is I want ray tracing on 60 FPS. Whenever you can offer me that, then that's cool. Like I'm good.
Now, if I'm playing like some flight sim, like I stick that to the highest, fidelity, visual, and all that stuff. But
Have you played Forza? What do you play that in?
again,
Or does it-
the
FPS?
frame rate? Yeah,
Yeah,
because you're going so quick. It's like,
I know. Forza looks amazing though.
and
Like,
the
it
thing
looks
is with
so
Forza,
realistic.
the thing is with Forza, they we'll move on after this. geeky
Yeah, no,
talk.
this is such
They've
a
done-
gaming
they-
podcast
They've
right
done
now.
they've done a good job of when you're driving that the motion blur helps the stability from the landscape. So the
Yeah.
motion blur, when you see someone playing it, even if they have it on like the fidelity mode or whatever, because it's an open world game and so much has to get processed as you're driving forwards, they've motion blurred the edges enough to where the game, like what you're looking at as a racing game, is
it
so
makes
smooth
sense
still.
anyways. Yeah, it would happen like if you're traveling at speed,
Yeah,
so
which
it doesn't
also,
look
like,
weird. Yeah.
So the motion blur just improves the performance
Yeah.
of the thing.
It's a difficult thing to do in games where it's like, and I need to stop talking about games, but the thing that came to mind with that is like, I remember whenever they made the Amazing Spider-Man games, like before there was actually, everyone remembers the Activision games were fun. Spider-Man 2 was like, oh, this is the one that feels really cool. Even though you go back to it now and you're like, oh my god, this feels terrible. But they made Amazing Spider-Man, and for some reason they thought it was a good idea to put the camera right up against his back so you were close, like you were swinging around New York City, and they put motion blur on everything. Actually made me feel violently ill every time I tried to get around.
Too close, too
What a
close.
terrible idea.
Yeah.
But then on the opposite, it's like whenever you add these effects, the problem that Grand Theft Auto is having with the Definitive Edition is that in San Andreas, they masked everything in fog to make it feel like the world was huge. And then in the Definitive Edition, they took all the fog away. So it's bizarre whenever, like, if you look at footage of people flying above the map, it just looks like
Oh,
three.
there's the end right there.
Yeah, Three states have been mashed together as close as physically possible. Like, it looks tiny compared to how it felt.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it feels huge if you're driving and there's mist. But instead, they've taken it all away, and it's just like, things just feel weird. I know that game's so broken, though.
They patched it recently. Like today or yesterday or something like that.
I wonder, did they
like
fix the
130 odd bugs, and they added cloud cover. So I don't know.
Oh,
if
that
they're-
might be one of them.
Yeah, I don't know
Because
if.
San Andreas is way too clear from, like, the Twitch streams I've watched. It just looks bizarre.
But it's weird. It's different to me. It's like more next gen than what San Andreas was. Literally just that gray. They called it mist, but it's just like basically a flat barrier that they put up.
I'm
so
not
you
saying
couldn't
that
see
I want
too
it to
far.
be as bad as it was, but
Yeah.
I think it needs to cover. So the whole deal is, like, if you climb Mount Chiliad, it's like one of the highest points in GTA San Andreas. If you go up there in the normal game, like, you shouldn't be able to see the other islands, but
Yeah.
you can. You can just see everything, and it makes it look so weird, like, just unreal. And I know it's not real, but you know what I'm saying. It's like, it should feel bigger than that. It just feels like, oh, so Las Vegas is just there.
Yeah.
I'm apparently in Los Angeles, and that's Las Vegas. Okay, cool. I accept that.
I was going to
I
say,
don't
when you brought up the Spider-Man games, do you think they're going to make more Spider-Man movies than games, or are they going to stop the Spider-Man? Because Tom Holland's just signed up for 3 more.
3 more. I'm actually
I-
waiting.
Here,
We're
did
gonna
I
keep
not
going.
did I not call this on the podcast last week or the week before? Whenever he whenever he said I think I should stop, he was just trying to find out what people's opinions were. That was like literally, I put it out there,
Yeah.
and I see if people want me to continue on or whether they
Of
want
course
Miles
we do.
Morales. You know?
But the thing is, they could do both. They could do
can.
both if they want.
100% They can. Yeah.
The thing is,
got
they
the
can't.
Spider-Man guy.
If you're gonna, like, what is this podcast anymore? Nobody knows.
I know. This
but
is
if-
literally just us.
This
having
is
a
just us talking
conversation.
at this point.
Yeah.
Right. So I mean, No Way Home. Like, I have not been, like, every time I think about this movie, I have a small orgasm. Like, I'm gonna be honest. Like, this is my childhood fantasy come true. Like, this is the best thing ever to me. So yeah, they're throwing so much at this, but I just don't see how everything can just resolve in this one movie. Like, I want to see Tom Holland go on and be more experienced. At this point in time, I think he's only been Spider-Man for like 6 months in the MCU, I think. Like, they said something like that. Like, they've actually given a time scale to the whole thing, and it's like 6 months
Yeah.
of being Spider-Man is all that he's experienced, or something mad, because he got dusted. So obviously, like, 5 years passed, but the people are so confused that are watching this and don't watch MCU movies. But he got dusted in Infinity War, so it means that he didn't experience 5 years. So 6 months since being bit by
Yeah,
Spider,
Tom
saving
Holland has only been
universe.
6 months Spider-Man. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like, that's where he's at now. It's like, we've never seen any experience with the guy. He still doesn't know what he's doing. And I want to see that go on more. I think that Sony need it desperately, because they must know at this point if they try and reboot Spider-Man. Because what's the point of them owning the rights to the franchise and everyone loving it at this moment in time? Like, Marvel fans will, like, boycott it or something. Like, I feel like Marvel has way too much pull with Disney. The fact that if they take away the connection to the Marvel Cinematic Universe and just do it in a Sony universe, people will get annoyed and not watch it, and you will see the numbers take a nosedive, and they'll suffer. So, like, they must know that. Kevin Feige must be going in there and, like, friggin' knocking heads and stuff, and then saying this stuff. He's cold hard businessman.
So
Like,
do you
I
think
don't
it's
know.
going to be these 3 and that's it?
I think
I
they'll
can see
use
it
3
being-
movies to pass on to something else, because that's quite a lot of movies for, like, if you think about, like,
He could
Chris
do
Evans
like
as Captain
Avengers
America.
thing,
Yeah, well,
where
think
he-
about
maybe he
Tony
appears in,
Tony
one
Stark.
or two more
You know,
bigger movies.
yeah,
Yeah.
because there will be a part to that agreement. That's where I haven't really seen the details said by a publication that I trust. At the minute, all I've seen is that Tom Holland signed on to do 3 more Spider-Man movies, and it's like, first thing I need confirmed is that they're 3 MCU Spider-Man movies and not 3 Sony movies,
Yeah, I know.
because I don't want
It's a
that.
scary thought.
It is a scary thought, but that's not what it said in the article. So I'm like, I need somebody to confirm right away that this is an MCU, like a Disney and Sony like collaboration again, and 3 more movies for that. But what is the side agreement? Because the last time it was like, oh, he can show up in up to 3 side MCU movies. You know, like they can hire him under the Spider-Man moniker, but he can be in somebody else's movie, not as the main star, but as a side attraction. That's the deal they have with Incredible Hulk. Like that's why Hulk hasn't had his own movie, because I think Paramount still owns the rights to movie Hulk, but Disney can use him if he's in someone else's movie.
Like, only in under a certain runtime or something like that. So many scenes or something.
I hate movies. I hate things. Logistics.
So the whole thing of Miles Morales is gone then? Nobody wants that anymore?
No.
I want them to use like they've done 3 movies to do a Tom Holland arc that to me will kind of resolve and make a lot of sense by the end of this last movie here. I think it's still left open, but then now you've got an opportunity of 3 movies to do Miles Morales properly and then continue on from there.
Do you think he's going to appear in the new? Because like it's
No,
already,
I think it's
already
too
crammed
much.
to the max.
It's too much. Like we don't know for
Spider-Man
definite,
3.
but yeah, people say that there
I've
wasn't
seen,
that
like,
many
there's
people in that.
memes, it's like Spider-Man No Way Home fans' expectations, and it's like all the cast of Avengers, all the cast of all the old X-Men movies, like friggin' Lord of the Rings, all sorts of shit.
Yeah, dude. I mean,
There's
thing, the
people way
tickets.
too hyped.
yeah, I was gonna say because we need to like. I assume that certain people of this group are gonna go to see this. It's like apparently it's really hard
Are
to
you
get
talking
tickets.
to just
$2
us
grand.
now, or the podcast listeners? I'm assuming certain people.
Who
in this
wants to
group
go
are
with
gonna-
me to see Spider-Man No Way Home? Because I
They're,
need to go.
Scalping tickets.
Yeah, apparently it's really hard to get tickets, but like we haven't even booked. We usually book for these movies and like have tickets, but we don't, and I'm worried about that.
Yeah, we should maybe talk about that.
Because I feel like it's gonna get ruined for
After
me
the show.
immediately, and I can't deal with that. Like,
Here.
I've already accepted the fact that I will be in the movie theater, and Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield will show up as Spider-Man. It's definitely gonna happen, and I will cry, and I need to trust the people that I'm with. Because
You need a hug.
it's gonna be
at the
really
end of this
embarrassing.
movie.
It's gonna be so embarrassing, but I know that I will cry because you see me imagining it. I'm
Already
tearing up
brings
now.
a little bit of
I'm
a tear.
actually tearing up now just thinking about them showing up because I'm really sad, and that's it.
Here, I seen a thing
I can't
today
even deal.
that made me think of just how hype you are about this movie, but like people like completely over analyzing certain stuff. And I'm not saying there's nothing in this theory, but I was like, wow, that's way out there. That reminds me of what do you call the YouTuber guy that you follow, and he analyzes all the Marvel movies like right down to
Voss?
Oh, Eric
extreme
Voss
level.
for
Yes.
New Rockstars, yeah.
So Zendaya was like walking a red carpet, and have you seen this? She had
She
like
had the
this
back of her
dress.
back
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah.
and people are like speculating, is she going to
Dr.
be like the
Octopus.
female Dr. Octopus, because
Yeah.
it was a thing in the cartoon version, like the Spider-Man multiverse thing.
There was a female Dr. Otto Octavius or like Olivia Octavius or something like that. I believe.
I just seen that and I'm like,
Nah,
that's how
not gonna
hype
happen.
Stu is.
No, that's not gonna happen.
He'll be analyzing every single little detail.
I'll tell you what part of me does believe though that I shouldn't believe, and that's that because I think like I always feel that Marvel must know to a certain extent because they always not subvert expectations but over deliver, in my opinion. Whenever I go to see these movies, there's always a certain amount of stuff that I expect, and then somehow they still get me with something. And I'm trying to think way outside the box here. There's a couple of people, like people who break these trailers down and stuff, who have thought of this, and I'm like, right, it's a foregone conclusion now that Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield will show up. Like, even though it's a surprise when it's going to happen, and if it's going to happen, we all know it's going to happen. It's got to happen. And we've got the old villains. They've already revealed that. And it's like the thing that has to be like a next step further that I think they could do with this movie and give it a platform is to bring mutants into the MCU at the very end. There's that part in the trailer where it's like the whole Doctor Strange is like, I can't hold them back, like they're coming through. Don't know what he's talking about. The villains already seem to be there based on the trailer. The Spider-Men, you would imagine, have already been there. So what is coming through at that point? The fact that the fight is taking place on the Statue of Liberty, which is where the first X-Men movie took place, which Kevin Feige was executive producer on, his first introduction to Marvel movies. The finale of that movie was on the Statue of Liberty. It's like, is he doing a full circle thing here? Not necessary like that he has to introduce all the characters of the X-Men in one go, but like just the mere thought of it happening.
A far out shot or
yes,
something.
and a post-credit scene that might reveal somebody who's playing. Or do you know how easy it is to do a post-credits where you don't even see who's playing Wolverine, but you just see a claw come out of a hand? Will still make me like pass out or something. It's like, is it Keanu Reeves? you just pass out because that's all you want in your life is Keanu Reeves to be Wolverine.
That would be incredible.
He's the only person that I think we could accept from Hugh Jackman after this, because Hugh Jackman is Wolverine.
Yeah.
I don't know if a lot of people know that, but he is. That is who Hugh Jackman is. Wolverine.
Hugh Jackman's Wolverine.
Hugh Jackman is Wolverine. Anyway, this has been a music and entertainment podcast. Entertainment. It is part of it.
We should just use this one as our first foray into like gaming podcast. Just put it in the different strip on the homepage. It's like,
and that was quickfire news, everyone. Let's get into the show.
Did we actually not finish quickfire news?
I don't know if I ever pressed the button at the end. It's like, okay, now the podcast begins. It's been an hour and 30 minutes, so I think I'm done. Although, you know what we usually do, and we haven't really done yet, so I really don't want this to be much longer, but...
Thank God. I thought you were going to play the breaks. I'm like, dude,
No,
don't
no,
do
no,
that.
no,
It's going to be a 3-hour podcast. We'll come back and we'll think of more things to talk about.
No. Shout out segment. We usually like to shout out a couple of things. One that I'll shout out straight away is Paper Tigers with their new single. They got a new music video. The whole thing seems top-notch production. I highly suggest going and looking at the thing. Maybe a contender for best video at the Broski Awards, the Broskis, that we're still to arrange, but we will do that at some point. Maybe these guys could be in contention for best video. You got to go and watch it. The song's called Graceless, and really like what Paper Tigers are doing at the minute. Definitely. Already a fan, but becoming more of a fan, I think, at this point, from the last two singles, this single and the one before. But really like what those guys are up to. I gotta admit, and we said this before we went on the show, I don't know if it's just because of the pandemic and what people are going through, but at this moment in time, I keep struggling for local music coming my way. Maybe not a lot of people are releasing. Like, the minute I see something, I talk about it. But, if you guys have anything on the go or anything coming out, please message us or email us, one of the two. I mean, if you find our Instagram or Facebook page, all the information is there. You can comment on this video as well, and we will see it there. But, I think a lot of people are holding material back. But if you got something out and you want us to talk about it, send it our way. Other than the Paper Tiger single, I don't really have too much else. I think I talked about all my stuff, so Money Michael, anything else?
Noticed one thing pre-show just before we went on there. One for you, Andy, to keep an eye on. Kyoto Love Hotel have a new single out this Friday, and you can pre-save it now. It's called Fortune Tellers, in brackets December. The album artwork's kind of cool. It's one of those, what did you call those things that you used to make as kids? The paper thing where you do the little
pick a color, pick a number, pick a color, and then you flip it. Yeah,
that's the artwork.
That has a name, and I don't know what it is. Does it have a name? Feel it has a name. It's not quite. Omnicron.
Omnicron. Welcome to the Omnicron.
That's what I called it whenever I was like, "Do you guys want to play Omnicron?"
Oh, that's actually sorry. I read the song title wrong. It's called "Fortune Tellers" in brackets. Welcome to the Omnicron.
I legit thought you were being serious there. Oh, flipping hell. What is it called?
Oh, I think
He's giggling. Now.
it's called Paper Fortune Teller or
There you
Origami Fortune Teller. So
There you go.
you're not wrong. Yeah,
God, I
what a
remember
dumb
that in
thing.
School. I remember that.
Pick a color. Pick a number.
Pick another big
You
colour.
are going to be in love with Joanne. I don't know. I don't know.
Joanne from down the street.
Joanne down the street. Go call for her, dare you?
Joanne.
Oh, mate, you're gonna die next week. You're gonna get hit by a bus.
Oh, mate, fuck,
This
you've
paper
got
thing
cancer.
said that. Paper origami thing said that.
Oh, shit.
Man.
Yeah, imagine if it was a really dark origami where it was what terminal disease you have or something. I'm like, that's probably what we would do now. Yeah, that's... Yikes.
What variant of Omicron will?
Yeah, imagine it was done pre-2020 and it's like, ba ba ba, pick a color, red, boop, 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 pick a number, 3, boop, 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 boop. Okay, you're gonna pick that one? Okay, flip it up. Global pandemic that will span 3 years. Oh, well that's
Dude, why
not
do you
good.
have to go and pick
That's
that
not
one?
good. Why'd you pick that one? And you doomed the world.
Somebody
That's a
found
horror
the
movie.
Jumanji board.
Yeah, it's a horror movie waiting to happen. Like, you know, they done Jumanji, they done all these movies where it's like, you know,
2012.
yeah, there's like this game that does, there was a videotape that killed you in one.
God, yeah.
So many movies with that. Why haven't they done the Origami Fortune Teller game where
Squid Game.
they've done the Squid Game? We all knew about Squid Game. We all knew the game of Squid Game before Squid Game came out. No.
Very popular game.
It was. I used to play it all the time when I was 5. Yeah.
Yep.
Andy, anything to shout out?
Yeah, I want to shout out runners. Get the fuck out the road. He almost crashed today.
No, wrong. That's smarten up, dumbass section.
Hey,
out,
runners. Hey,
Hey,
runners.
runners.
Get the fuck out the road.
This is
You
not
almost
the
caused
country
a
to be
crash.
running in. Oh yeah, man, they're up there with cyclists. I'm sorry, and I'm sorry if you cycle, but I actually really like. I say so many bad things about you in my car, like I do, and I'm gonna admit that like straight away. It's I don't know. I don't feel this is the country to run and cycle on the side of a country road that bends and winds and
Can
has
contain
blind
one
corners.
car, but has 2 cars
Yes,
driving down it.
the lanes are not big enough, and it's like, yeah, I'm gonna go running down here. I'm gonna go cycling down.
Wrap
or
some friggin' Christmas lights around you. Don't expect one little tiny bulb on the back of you
well,
to save you from me accidentally killing you.
that is true, but at the same time, you know what I don't want to see is the guy that I seen running a couple of nights ago. Whenever I was driving home, and his light, he had like 3 of them on his chest, and they were all
blinding.
flashing. It was like flash, 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 and I was like,
Distracting.
"Oh my god, my eyes!" It's just like I almost crashed my car into him because of his lights, because of his safety
You were
features.
Yeah, you veered in towards
Yeah, I was
him.
like, "Oh!" And then and killed him,
Yeah.
buried the body.
Underneath the tree that was hanging in the middle of the road.
Shout out runners and cyclists. Hang on.
No, I can't bother to finish the story now.
That was
Leo.
Sorry.
Leo Miyagi's playing tomorrow.
That's my bad. That's my bad.
At the Empire in Belfast. With guests.
What happens with you and a cycler? Did a
it's-
cycler hurt you,
Hey,
Andy? Tell
no.
us about it.
That's right.
I want to
I
hear the
actually
cycling
wanna
story.
know.
now.
No.
really do.
No, it's done. It's done. It's broken. It's
Who were
broken.
they?
The
Andy, can
story's
you tell
gone.
us the cycling story in a short amount of time?
No,
No
I
pressure.
want to tell
No
you about
pressure.
Leo Miyagi.
Tell us. Tell us right now.
No, I don't.
Tell
I
us the
don't
cycling
handle
story.
well under pressure. Oh fuck! Right. So that's my shout out, Leo. Tomorrow at the Empire, 8 o'clock. Weird guests.
Sorry. We usually do that noise for Leo Miyagi.
Oh.
What happened with the runner? I need to know. You can't not tell us now.
No, I was just driving back I was purchasing this light. Went down to the shop.
Yes, your ring light.
Came to, up to past, like, where that new Tesco's is, around, you know, where I'm on about. And so there was a car in front of me driving. There was runners on the pavement, and you turn up to go behind the field. But there's like a back road. Do you know what field I'm on about?
Yes, I actually do.
Yeah. So you go back there, you go behind. So there's a crossing, obviously, to continue on to the road. And the driver in front is doing her hair. Now we're going 40. The driver in front is doing her hair in a mirror like this. She's coming up. So we've gone past the petrol station. We've gone to the thing that's the crossing with the turn, or you can go straight. Doing her hair, I'm like, okay, I'm going to slow down. Runners at the same time alongside this car. Now, pedestrians don't win a battle when a car goes head on with a person, right? The car's going to win. So the runners, 3 of them, 2 of them keep going. 1 stops. This lady that's doing her hair, no indicators, turns. She slams her brakes. I am looking and I'm going, right, I need to be chameleon like this to look one on the runners, one on the car.
You need eyes on side of your head.
Yeah, like this. And I swear to God, I was like this phone width away from hitting the back of her. And the runners were the same, getting knocked over. And so they just don't care. It's like, we've got a high vis. We're just going to keep running across a busy street. And it's like, I get you trying to be good. I respect it. But just fucking slow down. Almost caused the crash. You crazy Vince.
Yeah, I get that. You know what I always
So shout out that security guy on Instagram. Have you seen that guy?
No.
Who does like the... Oh, man.
Well, you're going to have to send me this after.
Too long to talk about. It's just like this self-defense guy who like knocks guns out of way of people and stuff. It's like, this isn't going to work. This isn't going to work. You're going to get people killed, you crazy fool.
Look,
have you
dude,
seen this guy?
I've seen, no, but I've seen things
I've seen
like
enough
this before.
movies
It's
to
like, this is how
understand.
you disarm, no, you're going to get shot in the head.
I'm pretty sure I've seen enough movies to know that if a gun comes at me like this, then
I can't
go,
just bend the wrist.
and then I unload the magazine, even though I've never held a gun in my hand before. But like, if I put my hand over top and then I like twist his arm slightly, it's like, oh, your wrist hurts so much that your wrist naturally opens, and then I go, and then the magazine falls out, and good luck, buddy.
Do you know what
Now
you
we're
see? You
kung
see the
fu.
guy. You see the guy slapping the gun out of the way, but and then in the background, the music plays of the people carrying the coffin. You know that meme?
Yeah.
I can't
What
remember
the like
I can't remember
celebration?
The death march?
Yes,
the death march thing.
That's what it is.
The New Orleans funeral.
Yeah, immediately after, it's like
That's gonna happen. Like,
Egypt.
yeah, I mean, I'll admit what you're saying there. You know what the thought that always goes through my head whenever I see a cyclist on, like, I know this isn't the case, and I should probably respect them for being healthy and saving the environment, but whenever I'm driving and a cyclist is cycling so slow on, like, a Sunday, but I'm going to work, I was like, you know what? You must have a fucking job where you don't have to go to work on Sunday. I get myself in this weird anger loop that I've just invented myself. And it's like, you must think nobody works on Sundays, but you know what? I work on Sundays and I need to get there. And you're in my way. And there's so many blind corners. I can't overtake it. It's like, you must be so privileged that you think you can just go out for a Sunday cycle. I'm just like,
By the way, fully kitted sometimes. It's like, what are you training for? And it's also worse when
Big
you're going
event.
up a carriageway and they're in single file and then the road opens up and they go, and we're going to fucking split and we're going to go like this. And I'm like, okay.
my most hated, and even though you said that and it's a carriageway, what I hate the most is the fact that I live out in the country and that I see people cycling side by side so they can talk. And I'm just like,
what do they
there's
talk
not
about whenever
enough
they're
room.
side by side. Hey, Bill, I
cycle-
love your spandex. Where'd you get that from? I don't know why they all of a sudden are like from America, but
I can only imagine the only conversation that's happening is, "You tired? I'm quite tired as well. Why did we do this? Oh, shit, that car near hit me." It's just like, that's the only conversation that can be happening.
That's probably
What
more
else could you
accurate.
talk about at that moment in time? It's like you're out of breath, you're shouting. It's not like you could be like some sort of important information at that point. It's like, "Oh, Aaron didn't tell you Johnny's pregnant." You know what I mean? It's like there's no way you're sharing important information on a cycle, are you? Congratulations, mate. We should probably stop and hug at the seaside because that's where we are.
Yeah, I get it. Fair play. Shout out to them.
Shout outs. I just bumped my microphone with my earphone.
And,
That's so good.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I know. Nah, it doesn't matter. That's going back to a serious topic. And
finish on a high.
Oh God. Yeah.
We're
We'll
gonna go
end
back
on
to Omnicron.
shout out Omicron. Forget what it's called already.
Shout out to
No,
video
it's
games.
Omicron. Shout out to video games. Shout out to Spider-Man.
Everywhere.
Spider-Man
Spider-Man everywhere.
There might be 3 of you, but I love you all equally. Andrew, you're not Andrew. Sorry, Andrew Garfield. I should.
Damn.
He does
Andrew?
love you too, Andrew.
Andrew Garfield. Your movies were kind of not very good. Still love you anyway. It wasn't your fault. You're a great actor. But hopefully this will redeem you. This new movie. Shout out to everybody. Love and blessings. Hope Omicron isn't that bad. That's been it for 6 Ep, bro. We're under 2 hours, so I think that's a short one. Hopefully you join us next week and you haven't been completely put off the show at this point. We don't really know what it is anymore because people stopped releasing music, apparently. Please message us if you have new singles coming out. We will be back next week again for it's gonna be episode 69. 69. Episode 69. Episode 69. I'm gonna have to do a lot of planning for this because I baked it up way too much.
Yeah, somebody actually asked me, like, "Oh, I can't wait to see what you guys have planned." I was out at a gig the other night.
In
and,
advance,
we
I have zero.
literally
I don't think I'll be
we will
coming.
have nothing. Please.
Yeah,
We're
don't get hyped.
bringing
not
back
get hyped.
other Spider-Man for episode 69.
I'm not good at celebrating things. I'm good.
Good night. We love you.